Let me ramble about an analogous trend. I have so many thoughts, and it's not very planned video. I think I will start a bit from context. First of all, I love trends. Not exactly the way they sometimes work, but I think I see a lot of benefits, and I benefited myself from trends. I don't think I need to tell you everything wrong with trends. People overbuying stuff and then getting rid of that, like overconsumption, etc., etc. However, what I like about trends, first of all, they allowed me to be introduced to a lot of new ideas that otherwise I might have never heard about and considered, even if it's something like a fashion idea. Because when I joined TikTok during pandemic, people were wearing like crazy stuff. People would not go like that outside to the streets. It actually like rebuilt my brain. I was actually now realizing very conservative for some reason in clothing. Not even that like anyone was telling me that, oh, you cannot wear something like that. But in my head, for some reason, I was, and I enjoyed that a lot. Or something even like, if you remember, there was trend for coquettish style with a lot of bows. People were putting bows on everything. And at first I was very skeptical, I think in part because a lot of women are socialized and realize that they are socialized around this idea of womanhood, of pink and so on. And they either sometimes fall into this idea or try to resist and like, I hate pink, and then you're realizing that, well, maybe I don't hate pink, maybe I hate idea of social norms around gender, and you're like I think a lot of women have complex relationship to color pink, to bows, to playing with dolls, both ways. So in part I think it was that, and because it was like so many people were trying to do that and showing different ideas, that first of all I was seeing it and was being more willing to accept it, and also because I was seeing so many variations, I was able to see actually versions that I liked, which again might be a bad sign that you're much more likely to be influenced and change your mind and so on. But I think it depends on what type of person you are, because we are bombarded constantly by marketing and ads and so on. But at least this is mostly led by real people. Yeah, we can argue that influencers are actually businesses, which kind of is, but like real businesses, people who are like trying to sell, you usually join trend a bit late, and when they join, trend is about to die down. So at least like when you're just introduced to the idea, you're introduced by real people. There are issues around that as well, but still. So returning to analogous trends specifically, I think it was long time coming. It was very expected to happen, because if you remember, if you were alive or if you studied that period, or in early 2000s, there was quite a lot of techno optimism, because we were seeing like a lot of, I was born in 1999, but anyway, we are seeing like every new technology was significantly cooler than before that. If you remember all those phones, like when I just got my first phone, it didn't even have Bluetooth or anything like that, or connection to the internet. And like 2 months later, my classmates got phones, and they already had. So that's how it fastly moved. Like when iPhone was coming out, every new iPhone was significantly cooler and interesting. Well, it didn't last that long, but still, tech was interesting, and it was feeling that we are finally in the future. I think in part it also a reflection of political climate, because a lot of wars concluded, like fall of Soviet Union like concluded and started to rebuilding, like a lot of positive momentum was happening. However, like last 10-ish years, we had pandemic, we saw technology turned from this, like when you were seeing like Google, if you just work and you can play tennis and you have free food, so like the places of work of the future into needing to compete with technology, AI replacing all of us. Like we're seeing like a lot of bad stuff happening, which only added on top political climate. And also we're at the point where, can you name any technologies that is currently like cool? Because yes, some technologies like fall or turns like not cool, but then new emerged. Like maybe like Tumblr stopped being cool at some point, but soon like something else appeared. Right now, what do we have? TikTok is so horrible in many ways, although still like the best. Instagram algorithm is shit. Almost everyone is pandering to advertisers. We are losing communities, digital communities we had. And also, yeah, we kind of can go back, but a lot of places were destroyed because people could not compete with like Instagram and like other stuff like that. And Amazon, the way Amazon killed so many small businesses, the way like big tech and social media companies built a lot of small spaces on the internet, and also gentrification of Airbnb, Netflix. Like we were at some point where these things appeared, we were getting more access. It was, for example, in my country, in Ukraine, even if you wanted to pay and had money to pay for stuff, a lot of it wasn't available. Even if you knew English and was willing to like pay, it just wasn't there. So like piracy was a big thing. Sure, there was issue with money, etc., and stuff. But when like Netflix appeared, so many people in my country, and also, by the way, I'm not against piracy. I think it had to exist, including for reasons and justification, for archival purposes, and etc. etc. It's topic for another time. But I remember so many people like, you have an option to pay, like we want to like build this, like support our favorite creators. So people were moving that, and it killed cable, and now Netflix and other streaming platforms are just cable with extra steps and are shit also. So I think people just don't see good in stuff, and they are turning back to previous models of analogous movies, of analogous stuff, and there is no optimism, there is pessimism around that. So people are turning back to like what was before that. If everything is shit, was it always like that? Turns out not. And to a lot of our problems, there are solutions that already existed. So like physical media, your favorite TV series, your favorite movie cannot disappear one day because someone decided to do a tax write-off and totally deleted a movie you really, really liked. You can Google who did that, because it's like you bought it. Your favorite game cannot get discontinued or like stop being supported because you paid it, and it's actually, you physically own it, you know? So it's very understandable why this trend appeared, and it was expected. And I think we are like a bit on the top of this trend, and people will lose a bit momentum. But I think we are a bit equalizing, because there was a moment where we went like way too much into technology, and now people like we cannot depend on technology, because there was so many waves of like wine, for example. People started building communities and platform on wine, it closed. Okay, people moved to another platform, it got to shit. They moved to another, and they went to shit. So I think there is this moment that like how many times can you move between platforms, or because they went to shit, because they closed, because they got sold to some crazy person who does not understand actually business, because who would do that to Tumblr, and stuff like that. And also like have or decided to invest in some terrorist state or something. Like it's not like one mistake made by one company, it's very understandable trend, and all these companies keep investing in all the bad places, and trying to say that people do not deserve to live, which is totally different topic, but still not totally different, it's kind of connected topic. So I totally like that. However, I'm a bit confused about how it's done, and I have a bit mixed feeling. First of all, at some point in my life, I had so much anxiety about owning stuff because my parents, and I think a lot of parents who lived through very turbulent times, for example, fall of Soviet Union or some other political things, when stuff was inaccessible, because right now we are also going through political and stuff, but stuff is way much accessible, and our parents could not get rid of stuff because stuff. And at some point I got so much freedom from getting rid of everything that no longer was about who I am, that despite me liking trinkets, liking stuff, liking books, physical, I can have an anxiety about owning books, because what if I need to move and then I abandon all my books and then I spend so much money on having books, but also really I'm being mad about me spending money on books. Should I own books or not? Or for example, I like reading this book and I give it 5 stars and put it as my favorite, but I no longer remember why I put it into my favorites. So maybe it's not really that good. Does it mean I can get rid of it? Or as soon as I get rid of it, I will be sad? I don't know, maybe it's just my anxiety, but for me, that's my experience. So I have a lot of anxiety. I would love actually to have a collection of maybe my favorite movies. But first of all, my favorite, I don't have that many favorite movies. It's mostly TV series. Second of all, if I would like to start building collection, I would like to start to build collection of my favorite, 20 or I don't know how many, 30 my favorite TV series and films, and I'm just not sure they exist because they stopped producing them at certain point of time, and I'm just not sure it makes sense. For example, if Ghibli movies definitely existed at the time, and I definitely probably can pay enough money to get them, but I would need to buy some sort of equipment to be able to see these movies, and buying that, if I have only 5 movies, maybe not the best idea. But also maybe then I need to record them, I don't know, pirate them or something, burn movie on, too many choices. I cannot commit to physical media because I'm not sure it's accessible and it makes sense, because it takes quite a lot of space and I'm not entirely sure that it works for me. Are there any movies, if I will never see them again, for example, if someone will go on rampage on pirate sites, deleting all of them, or there will be some huge case in America, so all the piracy sites will close, and then the owner of TV series will delete it from all official places because of some money reasons. Would I be mad for never seeing it? I don't know. I think I would be mad never being able to rewatch Hannibal TV series. But does it mean that I need to buy it right now? It doesn't seem like we're in a situation when I need to download every scene. Also, I'm already in a situation where I'm considering to have buying local server, terabyte of memory or something, and start downloading whole AO3 and my favorite books and movies. It's just I have too many of favorite everything. So I have a bit anxiety about rent owning stuff, because mostly about media such as movies and music. Because again, 2000 favorited songs, and okay, maybe I can cut it down a bit, but it's still a lot of songs, and a lot of those are not albums. I have maybe 20 albums I really like. Some of them were never released or were released only in certain countries, which I will never be able to get, and to get all of them would cost too much, so it's just not accessible, and I'm not sure I want to start it feels I have a lot of anxiety around that, but I do kind of idea of owning physical stuff, but I would like to have only small collection. but I'm not sure I can keep it small collection. I hope you get like my anxiety around that. Regarding books, at some point I get rid of most of my books. I had a period where I was barely reading anything besides fanfiction, and I got rid of a lot of books. And I miss some of them, especially those I don't remember names of, so I cannot even go to like secondhand site and Google them. At some point, there was a book. It was square with illustrations that looked like they were drawn with pencil. It was something fantasy. It was very unique among what I read, and I have no idea. I don't remember plot a lot, I don't remember, and it seems to be written by a Ukrainian author, and those are rarely republished. So I do have like book collection. However, I'm in a country where I don't have permanent residence. So, and as my last move taught me, moving all my stuff, which half of it would be books, cost actually not that much. It costed me like 500 euros. So I have a lot of anxiety around that. For example, if I decide or will need to move to another country or maybe to a smaller apartment, can I take them with me? And if I cannot, do I need to keep buying them? And also, like, can I buy a book to read and then understand I didn't like it and sell? Like, again, a lot of anxiety around this, partially about like cluttering my space, partially about spending money, because my wish list is huge. I spend quite significant portion of my money on books, and I'm okay with that, but I own books, and I do want to own books, specifically those I find my favorite. I do a lot of what was called analogous hobby. I didn't really understood that at the beginning, but apparently some people do not have hobbies, and the only hobby is like scrolling or something like that, and that's why they are building analogous bags to put stuff in that, what they can use to do in their free time. So I'm already doing that. And I think it's a bit revitalized, like crafts community, DIY community, like book community. Yeah, like they're doing the same videos they did before, but now they're using like different tags that is more relevant to today. They're still showing like hobbies they are trying or want to try, and I actually think it's a great idea to try new hobbies. Yeah, there is a bit issue that you don't need to buy everything every single time you find a new hobby, but there are so many hobbies I would never learn about or try it ever. I'm really interested in trying mosaic. I'm a bit overwhelmed on how to do that, and I'm a bit scared because I still haven't found where to buy tiles and how the instrument goes, which you need to cut it, but I really want to try that. I really want to try jewelry making. I took like 2 classes and I want to continue doing that. And I'm not sure what to do with my beads collection, because at some point I wanted to make jewelry, and not from like silver, which I want to do now, like from metal, but from beads. And I bought some beads, and I had some beads from like a broken jewelry, and I don't want to get rid of it because like I have a lot of hobbies and sometimes I return to them, but also I'm not sure I want to keep them, like, so I think like the issue around my prediction is that if this trend continues long enough that people will start accumulating stuff again, we might see resurfacing of decluttering. Small, I don't think it will be like huge one, mostly because of political climate. Like if you remember, some of the rules of like decluttering was like if you can replace it quickly enough, if it costs like less than 5 years. There were so many versions of that, but the idea was if you can easily get it, like why do you own it? Or in this uncertain political crisis where like you're not sure you'll have job, I think people are not ready to get rid of stuff. And also, again, I think part of analogous trend is due to the fact that people are poor and people feel very uncertain financially, and a lot of analogous hobbies allow people to stay home, to entertain themselves while staying home, and a lot of them are actually useful, like you can make your own clothes. A lot of people do not get to that stage, but still. So that's my view. I think it's like really cool. I don't I'm afraid we will lose a lot of steam, but I hope that first of all it engage a lot of people to try, and people might, similar to pandemic, a lot of people find their like favorite permanent hobbies at pandemic. Well, some did something and never returned to it again, but some people like started doing like it continuously, so maybe to inspire more people to try, and it's always great. And I hope this analogous trend will combine with this talk around third spaces, and then we need our communities back, and that internet communities do not function anymore the same way, because like our followers are not our community. So we need to, I hope those conversations will combine, and we will see much more like in-person events. I think that's also the reason, like with AI and everything might not be real. I think companies also will lean into this real human touch and so on, and we will see more like human in-person events. And sure, it all can fall, and we will see a lot of this overconsumption and so on. I'm not sure we can do anything besides talking about that and do individual choices. It's not something we can do politically. It's individual choices of people, and I think we need a bit more security in our current like state of the world, that we can talk about something like let's not overconsume together. But yeah, I see why some people are scared of this like new overconsumption trend, but I actually see a lot of positive. I think it was long time coming. I'm not entirely sure how long will it last, because there is actually not that big of a difference of people doing stuff and people posting stuff on the internet. So impressions and how it's perceived on the internet actually really much affect real life, which is again huge problem. That's like one of the big downsides of internet and trends, and that everyone is influencer. But I prefer to see positive. I would like to connect with more people. I hope that there will be more like in-person events. For example, people I met in Vilnius, most of them I met through like, let's meet in a coffee shop and all draw. I'm going there every Sunday. I hope this trend will mean that more people are doing something like that. They are more willing to pick up hobbies they maybe abandoned quite some time ago, and stuff like that. I know I sometimes can be a bit sound pessimistic, but while the state of the world is not great, and this trend may seem like just another stone in this like huge pile of not that great situation, I think it's actually a sign of good things. I think it's a sign that people are tired of everything. You're tired also of all this bullshit from companies and so on, and people, even when they cannot do, or like besides like political shits we all need, we see that people are striving for communities, are striving for like real connection, for art, for human stuff. And hopefully I would like to believe that it means that it will be reflected in policies. I was really pessimistic about state of the world, because it felt like people don't care anymore, and all people just care about themselves, and that's why we have such a mess in many places, in many political, like going far right and so on. But I think this like interest in like analogous in art, in preserving art, because being able to buy music and buy your favorite movies is form of art and preservation of art. So hopefully it's a good sign, and it will not die out, but will combine with other positive trends, and will have some positive change. I would appreciate your thoughts on the topic. What do you think about this trend?